Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the series on the OS 8088 operating system that I've been building out. Now I have a couple of contributors that have added software, and there's one contributor in particular that has been really doing a great job of improving the overall responsiveness and bug fixing and adding features that I think everybody's going to really appreciate. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to walk you through some of the changes that have been made so far. Okay. So this is the current main branch as of today. And I'm booting up an XT class machine with 640K of RAM and 512K of video of RAM on a VGA card and a Sound Blaster 1.0. All right, so I am gonna skip forward here. All right, so this is the loading screen that we all know so far. And right now, it's a little bit slow still to load, but we have a change coming in the next release that is gonna make this much, much faster. It's gonna go from being like 20 seconds, 30 seconds to maybe a few seconds to load. But I'll share that in another video once that has landed. All right, so now we are here at the desktop. And I'm just gonna go ahead and walk you through some of the changes. Not everything is gonna be testable in the XT machine that I have here now, but we're gonna use this because it's an 8088 operating system, so we should try it out always with the 8088 base machine. If you go here, about OS 8088, that's still the same. But notice how fast that rendered, and that's one of the major changes that was made. The windowing and the dragging and the redrawing have been dramatically improved. So, for example, if I go over and now go and load a bounce, notice how fast it redraws now over the windows. And if I have multiple bounces, look, now we have really, really clean drawing, fast and responsive, even on an XT class machine. So definitely a huge improvement. It feels much more like the Mac OS operating systems used to do. And I have to thank the contributor. If you look at the repo, you can see Ellen Dion, I think. That's his handle. And he's made some huge improvement in the way that our graphics subsystem renders and behaves, and it just feels like an actual operating system now. It doesn't feel like it used to, where you would have to see all the windows redraw. Now only the affected areas redraw, and even the window itself just comes into view almost instantly on an XT class machine. So this is great. All right, so we have that. And let's go to the control panel here. Nothing has really changed in the scheduler too much. So this is still the same. For display, we still have direct to screen and double buffer, but with all these performance improvements, double buffer really doesn't give us, it actually slows things down. The direct to screen is now the way to go. There's no point to do double buffering, really, at least now with this implementation that I have going on here. Date time. All right, so what's new here? This XT class machine does not have an RTC clock wired up to it in the emulation, but if you do have an RTC clock, there's new code that was added by the contributor that will respect the clock for the machine, and it'll go through a series of what do you call checks for different RTC clocks, and then set the time. And we'll try that out really quickly. Let me just load up another machine here, 386 sound. So we'll have a 386 machine running as well with a Sound Blaster 16. And I believe this one will showcase the fact that this one does have an RTC clock, and it should show the same system clock that I have in this MacBook, which is Saturday August 8th. It's 8:36 a.m. All right. Boom. You see that? August 8th, 2026, 8:36. And that is set here in this clock. And it found the hardware clock right here. All right, so but let me temporarily move over to the XT machine itself. Let me minimize this, and we'll continue with this one. All right, drivers. We now have official driver support. If I go to the disk A, we have sound.drv driver, and the sound drivers are now loaded on startup. If or in the new one coming, they're not loaded by default because we want to make sure that the kernel loads with as few initial things available. But we haven't yet in this release. I don't think we're storing the settings yet in the drive. Let me actually double check that. So if I uncheck the sound, all right, and I go here and restart the operating system, will it remember that? Let's see. By the way, I really love that the operating system is able to restart so cleanly without having to go back to the BIOS. So that's definitely a really nice feature of this. I don't. It did take a moment there to store that setting, so maybe it did store it to the drive, and I just and that change already made it through. Let's see. Nope, not yet. All right, so in an upcoming release, we are adding support to store the settings in the floppy disk image as well, so it'll get read write. But now we have sound drivers, and when you go to sound, you have PC Speaker, AdLib, Sound Blaster, and we'll test that out really quickly. All right, so we've gone over the graphic subsystem improvements. We've gone over the control panel additions. Let's take a look at the task manager. Now, the task manager, if you click on it again, so now you have like this nested view here. So if I, let's say, run bounds, you can see here that these are system tasks. But if I go and load our Minesweeper, you can see here, oh, by the way, look, even the color based apps redraw much faster as well. So notice here that you have this nested view now in the task manager. And if I click on the task manager, you can see a breakdown of where the apps are being stored in the memory map here. And you can see it where what they are, what we're using, the stacks, the disk buffers, and all the packages where they're being stored in memory. And yeah, a huge improvement, and I appreciate the contribution here as well. This is something that was done by a contributor, so thank you so much. And yeah, this is working really well. This is, mind you, this is an 8088 running at 4.77 megahertz, and you can see here that the multitasking is great. Is great. What else? What else can I show you? All right, so we're done with the task manager, right? So everything here. Locator. Now I don't know if this is like the always showing the app name. We have this typical menu there, and if you click on the clock, I think you should go. Yeah, you can go ahead and make changes there, and that was almost instant. Now let's go to the disk again. This is another area that got a lot of improvements, right? So we can still resize. You can scroll. Now we have apps and games folders. If we go to the apps, we have several things that were added. We have the Artful type. This is actually a port of the Action Retro application. We have the Fractal, we have Mod Plug Player, Notepad, Paint, Piano, Recorder, and Tracker. What else do we have? Anything else? No. That was it. All right, so let's just go one by one here. So let's see here. This is the Artful, I forgot the name here. It'll show up in a second here. The Artful Type, a distraction-free writing environment by Action Retro. And if I click new here, you can see I go into a full screen distraction-free markdown compatible editor. Just it's an exact copy clone of based on the source code that Action Retro put together. So if I go here and this is the Artful Type. Mind you, this is an XT class machine, so in slightly faster machines, this will render much faster. This is a heading. But if you type in normally, like hello, this is normal text. I think there's definitely optimizations that we can do here, but as you can see here, it's working correctly. So we can go here in the menu, you can change the style. You can see all the same things that you would do. If you go and zoom in, it's going to be an expensive zoom on an XT class machine, but it works. All right, so let's go ahead and quit here. I don't want to save this. And we're back to the main menu here. And I think I can just close that out like that. All right, we already know the fractal. So the fractal is over here. Now, I don't know if this was shown last time, but now the fractal remembers where it was. It renders much faster. It doesn't restart. And it works really well with preemptive multitasking, so that's good. What else? Notepad. There's a lot of changes coming to Notepad. There's going to be scrolling. There's going to be there's already scrolling in it. But hello, this is a note. Works really well. Paint. We already saw that in the previous video, but here is Paint, and you can still draw. It's probably improvements that can be made here, but it's not our biggest priority right now. As you can see, our serial mouse barely does anything nice and smooth, but it works. The piano, nothing has changed in the piano. This is still the same. The recorder, I haven't really played around with this one too much. So this is definitely one where we'll have to make some improvements here and try recording something and see if it'll play it back. Now we get into some of the more fun applications, and this is going to be where I'll show you Tracker, because this one is based on this is a clone of the Fast Tracker 2. If you go here and go to open, and right now it's running in XT mode, which is like it caps the playback rate at 5500 hertz. So it's not going to sound great, but it will play in an XT class machine. It does take forever to load because it has to load and move all those samples into memory, and it's reading from a very slow floppy disk drive. But any moment now, we'll start playing. It takes about like a minute. I don't know if it's a minute, but it's gonna feel like a minute. And as soon as it loads, it starts playing. So if you have an XT class machine and you want to play mod music, the loading is going to be oh, it ran out of memory. And that's that's actually a bug, or some kind of memory allocation system is not freeing up the slots or something. So we need to fix that. So the way to do that, to fix that, is the old Microsoft way, which is restart the operating system. All right, so how about I showed you, well, let me show you the tracker playing a mod file in the XT class machine before we go over to like a faster machine, because it'll definitely run on the faster machine, but it's good. It's a good demo to show you the mod music in the XT class machine, because um, it is something that I always wanted to support. Like I always wanted to see what the bare minimum is for sound and things like that. So let's see here. Maybe we'll even play an MP3 file. What do you think? All right. Let's go back to the tracker. All right, so now we're gonna open the file, Beverly Mod. All right, and through the magic of editing, I'm gonna skip you over to the file playing. All right, here we go. This is the XT machine, and it's playing the mod files. And you can see here in XT mode, you only see a single row of the tracker and these pin lines, but it is playing. I think this is like 5500 hertz or something. Can you imagine having your old XT class machine doing this in the 80s? This would have been so cool. I'm sure that there were people doing this with their 8088s. Some people were. But this is doing VGA graphics with VU meters and a tracker. So it's a lot to ask for from an 8088 running at 4.77 megahertz. Press escape here. You can actually even minimize and do multitasking. Let me go back to my notepad here. And the music stops because I am doing disk access. But once it's loaded, like, hello, this is a note that I am writing on OS 88 while a mod file plays back. By the way, this is an 88 running at 4.77 megahertz, multitasking at the slowest speed possible. Boom. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is I am gonna end this video here because we're already at 18 minutes. And in the next video that I'm gonna put out, I am gonna go over all the games that we're adding. We have Arkanoid, we have Missile Command, Solitaire, and something called Tangram. And I'll review those, and we'll go there. All right. Well, thanks for watching.